How to install the Access Lorado on this 2015 Ford F-150. Now this is the standard installation, so it installs the exact same way on most trucks. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to want to do is locate our passenger side rail. Now you're going to notice it's got a bulb seal on the back side that faces towards the tailgate, and it's also got a foam rubber strip on the inside that faces up against the bed cap. We're going to set that up against the bed cap. We're going to make sure the top of the seal is up even with the top of the bed cap, and we're going to slide that rail all the way up to the bulkhead. Now in this position, to hold it in place, you can take a couple of squeeze clamps or even like a vice grip, something like that, and hold the rail to your bed cap while you're putting on the clamps. Next, we're going to locate our clamps. Our clamps is a two-part clamp. Each side is exactly the same as the other, but the side that we tighten has the nut on it, so that needs to face to the inside of the bed. Also, the inside portion of the clamp should be on top of the outside portion of the clamp. Spread it apart, slide it up into the rail. Make sure the teeth on the clamp mate into the grooves on the rail. Hold it together and then tighten it hand tight first. Now as you tighten it with your 1/2-inch wrench or ratchet, you want to hold the clamp to where it's straight up and down vertical with the ground. Now the first clamp I went ahead and installed in the center of the bed of the truck. The next one I'm going to bring up here to the front of the bulkhead, or front towards the bulkhead. You just want to make sure that as you do this, that the rail hasn't gravitated up or down or away from the bulkhead. Anything like that, you want to make any adjustments and then continue on. So I'm going to put this clamp in. I'm going to get it up as close to the bulkhead as possible and install it the exact same way as the center one. Just finger tight, 1/2-inch wrench or ratchet while I hold the clamp vertical, tighten it down. Now for the rear clamp, I'm going to install that the exact same way. Slide it up in there. I'm going to get this as close to the tailgate as possible. There again, finger tight. Make sure everything is even up top. 1/2-inch wrench or ratchet while I'm holding the clamp vertical. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove my squeeze clamps and repeat the same process on the opposite side. Next, we're going to be installing our element seal on the bulkhead. We've got an included alcohol prep pad. We want to make sure that we clean that bulkhead very thoroughly. All right, next what we're going to do, we're going to orient the element seal in this position here. So it's kind of L-shaped. Pull a few inches off of that. We're going to bring this all the way up to the bed cap, then press it down. All right, now when you get to the opposite side of the bed cap, before you peel the adhesive away, go ahead and cut that seal to mate evenly to the opposite bed cap. Okay, now that we've got the rails on, I've got the tarp. Now this has got everything included in it. The bulkhead bar, it's got the crossbars, the tail bar. Now the piece that's coming off here, you got a little vinyl flap. That is actually going to face towards the cab of the truck. So we're going to orient it in that manner and set it on top of the bed caps right now. Now, before we try to set that in place, what we're going to want to do is install on both sides our tension adjuster. So what we're going to do, we're going to notice we've got on each end, we're going to have a slot. Inside that slot is a square nut that slides back and forth in there. So we're going to take our tension adjuster, and it will be labeled, this is L, this is for left side or the driver's side. I'm going to set that in place to where this hole lines up with a hole on that nut that's sliding on the inside. In your kit, you'll have a long bolt along with a washer. It's going to go through that hole, and we're just going to loosely thread it into that nut. We don't want to tighten it down at this time, and we want it to be able to wiggle around a little bit. So we want it to be loose enough to wiggle around and slide back and forth. We're going to do that on both sides. Next, we're going to go ahead and rotate it forward, making sure that the head rail is between the edges of the bar. Now, this vinyl flap is very important. That vinyl flap needs to be tucked to face to the inside of the bed of the truck. Just make sure you bring it all the way in, tuck it down, and now we can slide that headrail forward until it's over top of the bulkhead. It'll drop in place just like so. Okay, so we're going to slide the tension adjuster to where this portion lines up with the hole in the rail. Also, this is the piece that we just installed loosely. The reason why we installed it loosely is so that they can slide underneath the rail. So when we tighten it down, it kind of tightens down onto the rail. Now, in your kit, you'll also have a short bolt that's going to go through the top of the rail and into the hole in the tension adjuster. You want to get that in place, and then underneath, you're going to install a flat washer along with a nut down on the bottom. Get that finger tight for now. We're going to do that on both sides. All right, next we're going to make sure this header bar is centered in between the two rails. So just make sure this gap is the same on both sides. Now we're ready to go ahead and tighten down this bolt. This is what holds the tension adjuster to the head rail. We're going to tighten it down finger tight first, then come back with our 1/2 inch wrench or ratchet. We're going to use a 1/2 inch wrench to hold the head of the bolt still while we go to the bottom, and use a 1/2 inch ratchet or wrench to tighten down the nut on the bottom. And do that on both sides. Now we're going to go ahead and roll the tarp back to the tailgate. Before we do that, we want to make sure that the tarp is coming off to either side the same distance. So if it's hanging off one side too far, you want to pull that tarp to the side to make sure it's centered. We're going to roll the tarp to the tailgate. Now this should be set with a perfect tension from the factory, but if you need to adjust the tension, I'll show you how to do that. You're gonna reach inside, pull the cable that retracts the latches on either side. Now we can roll it up to the bulkhead, towards the cab. Once we get it up to the front, we want to make sure we've got the Velcro pulled away from the rail on both sides. Now we're going to take a look at our tension adjuster. Now the tension adjuster should be a certain distance away from the head rail. And you want to make sure that it's the same distance on the driver's side as it is on the passenger side. Now that tension adjuster has direction for how to turn your tension adjustment knob to tighten that up. And as you turn that knob, you'll see your head rail move either forward for tight or backwards for loose. So we're going to tighten it up just a little bit. And the same distance from the tension adjuster to the head rail, we want to make sure is on the opposite side as well. Well, we tested the operation of the cover and everything works perfectly. So that concludes the installation. If you have any questions, call the experts. We're here to help you.